Picture this. Tens of thousands are packed inside Boston's biggest stadium. Coldplay is about to play their biggest hit. The crowd is buzzing, phones are out, and suddenly all eyes are on the massive screens above the stage. But this isn't just about live music. This is the moment everything changes. Tonight's story isn't just about a concert mishap. It's about how one awkward, unforgettable second, caught on camera, had domino effects that nobody saw coming. Careers were destroyed, families were shattered, and a billion-dollar company faced a crisis it never dreamed of. And here's what makes this story different. You're going to see how fast the internet can unmask secrets, how private lives can turn global in a blink, and why even the most powerful executives can't hide from a viral moment. So before we dive into the mayhem, ask yourself, how would you react if your private moment was broadcast to millions in an instant? What would you do if the whole world decided to judge your choices? Stick around, because this isn't just a tech scandal. It's a lesson in how life and reputation can change in the time it takes to blink. Let's get into exactly what happened, why it exploded, and what it means for anyone who thinks their secrets are safe in a crowd. Yeah, you heard that right. A Coldplay concert. It started as a regular fun night. Fans, music, lights, all the good vibes. But it ended up shaking the tech world to its core and costing a major CEO his job. This wasn't just a case of someone getting embarrassed at a public event. This was a scandal that exposed a lot more than just two executives caught off guard. It raised big questions about leadership, ethics, relationships in the workplace, and how quickly your personal life can become everyone's business when the internet gets involved. So let's break this down. We're going to walk through what exactly happened, who was involved, why it went viral, and what the fallout looked like, not just professionally, but personally, for everyone involved. All right, here's the setup. It's just another night in Boston, July 2025. Coldplay is on tour, playing to a sold-out crowd. The stadium is packed, everyone's in a good mood, and the kiss cam is doing its usual rounds between songs, zooming in on couples, catching awkward and cute moments. You know, a bit of harmless entertainment to fill the gaps. But then the camera lands on a couple sitting together in a VIP box. At first, it looks like any other couple. They're sitting close, cozy even. They appear to be sharing a personal, affectionate moment. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Until suddenly, they realize they're on the big screen. And that's when everything shifts. The man ducks quickly, clearly caught off guard. The woman hides her face with both hands. It's painfully awkward. And if you've ever been on a kiss cam, you know it can be a little cringy. But what made this moment different was what happened next. Chris Martin, Coldplay's lead singer, noticed the moment and made a lighthearted joke to the crowd. He said something like, "Looks like either they're having an affair or they're just very, very shy." The audience laughed, of course. But little did they know just how accurate that offhand joke might turn out to be. Now, in the age of smartphones, you already know what happened next. Someone filmed the moment, posted it online, and boom, it went viral within hours. People started asking, who were these two? Why were they so uncomfortable? And then the internet did what the internet does best. It investigated. Within a day, internet detectives had identified the man as Andy Byron. He was the CEO and co-founder of Astronomer, a rapidly rising tech company focused on AI and data pipeline technology. The woman was Kristen Cabot, the company's chief people officer, a high-level HR and culture executive with over 2 decades of experience. And here's where it gets even messier. Both Byron and Cabot are married, not to each other. As the video continued spreading, everything unraveled. People found LinkedIn profiles, company bios, old posts of them praising each other, and more. Some users shared screenshots of Byron and Cabot congratulating each other on recent promotions. Others dug into their family lives, figuring out that Andy Byron was married to a woman named Megan Kerrigan, and that Kristen Cabot was married to Andrew Cabot, founder of Privateer Rum. Both have children. The public response online was quick and brutal. Screenshots, memes, think pieces, discussions about workplace relationships, questions about integrity, and, of course, calls for accountability. Now, this wasn't happening to just anyone. Astronomer is no startup on the fringe. It recently raised a massive investment round, nearly $93 million, from major names like Salesforce Ventures and Bain Capital, putting it firmly on the map in the AI world. So when your CEO and head of human resources are now the subject of a potential affair captured live on a kiss cam at a concert followed by a public internet explosion, that's a problem. Especially when you're a company positioning yourself as a leader in innovation, ethics, and technology in the era of AI. So how did Astronomer respond to all of this? Pretty quickly. First, they placed Andy Byron on administrative leave. Then they placed Kristen Cabot on leave as well. Not long after that, Byron resigned. The company's board reportedly accepted that resignation without much resistance. Astronomer released a public statement saying that the company holds its leaders to a high standard and that Byron's presence no longer aligned with those values. Cabot's situation is a bit less clear. She was also placed on leave, but no final verdict has been made public yet about whether she'll return. The company is conducting an internal investigation to determine what happened and whether any company policies were violated. Now let's talk about personal fallout, because the career impact was only part of the story. After the news broke, Andy Byron's wife removed his last name from her social media accounts. Then she deactivated her Facebook page entirely. It was a subtle but powerful signal that things at home were not okay. Sources close to the situation said she was overwhelmed by the flood of messages, DMs, and press attention. She hasn't made a public statement since. As for Kristen Cabot, reports suggest that she's still married to Andrew Cabot, at least as of earlier this year. They have at least one child together. But again, no public remarks have been made from her or her family, at least not yet. The silence has only made the public more curious. One of the elements that made this story explode so dramatically was timing. Astronomer had just secured a huge funding round. This was supposed to be a moment of growth, press coverage, and celebration. But instead, the company was suddenly dealing with a PR nightmare and a leadership vacuum. Investors were concerned. Competitors were watching. Employees inside the company were likely confused and frustrated. Executives at any company are held to a different standard, especially in the public eye. And when you're in charge of a billion-dollar startup, you're expected to lead with trust, transparency, and a sense of responsibility toward your clients, your investors, and your team. For Kristen Cabot in particular, the scandal cut even deeper. As head of HR, especially someone with a public track record of promoting values like inclusion, accountability, and integrity, being involved in something like this can severely undermine the very foundation you're supposed to be protecting. Old LinkedIn posts of hers resurfaced, where she talked about how thrilled she was to join Astronomer and how much she admired working with Byron. Those posts, once part of a professional narrative, now paint a very different picture. In the wake of the scandal, Pete DeJoy, a co-founder of Astronomer, stepped up as interim CEO. The board announced that they were starting a formal search for permanent leadership. Meanwhile, they reassured employees, partners, and customers that the company remained focused on its mission and would operate as normal. But here's the bigger takeaway from all this. This story is about way more than just two executives caught getting close at a concert. It's about how we live in a world where private moments are no longer private. Where a smartphone held by a stranger can record, post, and expose your personal life in seconds. Where the line between leadership and lifestyle is paper thin in the eyes of the public. And where holding positions of power means you are always under a microscope, whether you realize it or not. Whether what happened that night was an affair or just a misinterpreted moment, we might never know for sure. But what we do know is this. The fallout was real. Careers ended. Families were impacted. A company's future took a hard detour. All from a moment that lasted less than 60 seconds on a stadium screen. Let that sink in. All right, that's the full breakdown. What do you think? Were the public overreacting? Should executives lose their jobs over public behavior like this? Or was the firing the right move given their positions? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your take. And if you want more deep dives into stories like this, scandals that shake the industries, the behind the scenes of big tech, and what happens when power and privacy collide, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.